Hello ladies and gentlemen, and today on Connor's Garage I'm going to show you how to replace the front lever arm shocks for the MG Midget. All the tools that you will need to complete the replacement of the lever arm shocks on your MG Midget. You'll need a hammer or mallet in case anything gets stuck, 9/16 wrench, 1/2 inch wrench, vice grip adjustable pliers, just to move the bolts around a bit in case anything else gets stuck, socket, 9/16 socket, and a 1/2 socket. You can also use an impact wrench or air socket if you have those. It will make this job go a lot faster. The step to replacing the shocks is to remove your wheel. This will expose the shocks, which are right here. In this car, the shocks act as the upper control arm, so in order to take them off, we need to put pressure off the spring. That will be a step that comes later. The next step in the process of removing the shock is to remove the cotter pin from this bolt and then remove the bolt itself. After that, you want to loosen this bolt, which is clamping the arm of the shock onto the wheel assembly. After those steps are done, we're going to need to move into the engine bay to remove the top of the shock first. Next, we need to remove the shock. This shock is located on the passenger side of the car in a left-hand drive spec model car. You're going to want to take your 9/16 wrench and remove these 3 bolts. But before that, you're going to need to take pressure off the spring because this acts as the upper control arm on this car. The lever shock acts as the upper control arm on this car. We're going to need to use a jack to take off the pressure from the rear spring in order to remove the shock. Another thing you need to make sure of is that the shock is free from this stop in order to take it off. Then we will go and use our 9/16 ratchet to remove the shock itself, and the shock arm will slide right off of the assembly. Then, using my 9/16 socket or wrench set, I will remove the main body of the shock. All of the bolts are undone. We're going to want to go under the tire well again and remove the top of the shock from the wheel assembly. Now that we have the upper part of the assembly disabled, the arm of the shock, right here, will easily slide off the wheel assembly. There we go, it's off. Now once this is off, we can remove the shock and start assembling our new one. Our old shock compared with the brand new rebuilt one. Now what you're going to want to do next is remove the bolts and washers from the old one and place them on your new rebuilt shock. Now that you've reassembled your shock assembly and attached it with this bolt, you need to tighten this bolt and then finish up by tightening the bolts, the 3 bolts on the main assembly. After that, you will be finished and you will have installed your replacement shock lever arm. Once everything is tightened up, you will have successfully installed your new lever shock arms for your MG Midget. Now for the other side, you just need to repeat all of the steps that I went through to replace the passenger side on left-hand drive cars, and you will have successfully replaced both lever arm shocks on your MG Midget. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for other how-tos on MG Midgets, old Mercedes, any other car that I happen to work on. Thank you very much.